Now we're going to give you more mystical powers, the power to go back into the past and change something. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a game score, but any type of result or decision in the history of college football that if you could go back and change, what would that be?
Well, I have one in my lifetime and one that kind of predates my own lifetime. And I have to go back to the 1982 season. Pitt was on their way to probably another national championship. I believe they were up 14-0 on Penn State. And I think Penn State ran up 48 straight points and beat Dan Marino and the Panthers 48-14. That's a game that I've been told about, I've heard stories about, and that really kind of changed Pitt because, if they get that second national title, maybe things, keep rolling and they don't have the dark days of the late 80s and early 90s. So that's one. And another game, it was one I was at in 2009. Pitt was playing for the Big East title against Cincinnati. It was a classic game, and Pitt lost 45-44 to Tony Pike and the Bearcats. They went on to play in the Sugar Bowl against Florida. Pitt had a 10-win season, but they could have had another Big East title and a chance to play the Gators in the Sugar Bowl.
Now, Jim, I know as soon as you mention it, I'm going to remember it. But 2009, who did the Panthers end up playing in postseason play?
They went to the Car Care Bowl and played North Carolina.
And Cincinnati, be careful what you wish for, but because we know what their plight was at the Sugar Bowl against Florida. It was like a 37-0 game at halftime, and it was pretty brutal. But speaking to the Penn State game in 1982, or it might have been 1981. Yeah, I do remember that game. I think it was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Pitt just was an elite program at the time, as you well know, and had produced Leroy Selman and Hugh Green, Dan Marino, of course, at the time, Tony Dorsett, a number of great players, Bill Fralick on down the line. They won the national championship at the Sugar Bowl against Georgia. Then they hit the Marino era, and they were extremely close. That 1980 team only lost one game, and then they had an undefeated team, and they ran into a buzzsaw against Penn State. And even Marino's senior season, I believe, were ranked to number one preseason. They ended up losing 3 games, and then the program was never the same after he left. The plight of the Pitt Panthers, but still a solid football program, a top 25 type program as we head into 2017. Jim, it's been fun talking about your proposed changes to college football.
Yeah, it was it would be nice to actually be able to pull this off somehow.